Okay, Kate, we have something very important to tell the listeners, and it's that you finally finished The Sopranos, so maybe you'll stop talking about it.
Oh, no, my journey is ended. Oh, it was a little anticlimactic, I'm gonna say it, but I think most people felt that way at the end, so... Although one of my friends, shout out my friend Christine, who's been supporting me through The Sopranos, when I told her I finished, she's a younger sister named Kayla, and she goes, yeah, the only person I know in the entire world who actually liked the ending was my sister, and I told her she was wrong.
Oh, well, I hope, as you make references, Tony Soprano can slowly leave your life.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to finish all my gabagool and, what do they eat? Mozzarella and other stuff.
Well, and you had Dad over for some Italian.
Yeah, I did. We had pasta, we had chicken parm, and I made some fancy toast with, ricotta and tomatoes and stuff, and he ate them.
And he came over saying he wasn't, and then that Irish-Italian blood that doesn't exist had a nibble on that ricotta.
It changed quickly. And then there was also ice cream. I didn't even have ice cream, but he dove right in, him and Mary, so...
Oh, well.
I was on wine duty, which meant I drank a lot of wine by myself, so that's
you did your duty. You did your duty.
I was being a great host.
Sisters who've seen it. We are the sisters who've seen it. Sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, sisters. Sisters who've seen it.
Hello!
Hello there!
Are you cool, man?
What do you mean?
Okay. That guy is so funny. Okay.
Light up a joint, folks, because I hope you're ready to puff, pass.
Yeah, it's gonna be a slow ride.
Ooh.
Take it easy. Just kidding. It can't be too slow because Bridget has a pizza cooking. So.
That's very, very true. We're gonna need some bell bottoms. Oh. We're gonna need some long hair with braids for men and women. We're gonna need some old school young Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
All right. Kate, should we introduce ourselves?
Yeah. I think so. Well, listeners, we are the Sisters Who've Seen It, the podcast where two sisters who are not movie critics look back on some of our favorites throughout the years through a psychological, ethical, and familial lens. I'm Katie.
I'm Bridget.
And... oh, there's so many lines.
I just wanted everyone that smoked as much pot as this movie to feel how everyone's brain was in this movie, which was delayed. That's kind of how I just reacted right there.
So, yeah, that's a hashtag slow ride right there, everybody. So, yeah. But they're literally, like, we watched this movie, I was like, yo, there's a lot of funny lines in here.
Oh, a ton. We'll go through them.
But what's our movie this week, Bridge?
The 1993 hit Dazed and Confused.
1993. It's the best year for movies, everyone. Don't get it twisted, okay?
But don't get confused because the entire movie is in the 70s.
Do we know the exact year? Because I
1976, because they talked about July 4th, 1776 celebration. And, you get like one of the teachers went on like a liberal speech about
my God,
it.
that lady
remember?
Is amazing. I want to hang out with her. I have one of her quotes I wrote down because she's so funny.
Man.
Yeah.
Kate, I think you could take this synopsis.
Okay.
Whoa. Take an inhale.
No,
Play cool. Blow it out, man.
Metaphorical inhale.
Be cool.
You cool, man?
You cool, man?
All right, I'm really going to try my darndest to actually summarize.
All right.
Okay, so this is a movie about children. We've got mainly high school children. Most of the characters are going to be seniors next year. So it's the end of a school year. So right now they're juniors, and then they're going to be seniors. And then we also have some characters who they're kind of middle schoolers. They're in 8th grade, and they are going to be freshmen. Okay, so technically they're kind of all high schoolers all the end of the school year, whatever. So really what we're seeing is the dynamic between a lot of these people and their relationships, their friendships, whatever. The main guy, I would say, is the guy whose name is Randy Floyd.
Do you know what his nickname was?
His nickname was Pink because of Pink Floyd, and that was pretty funny, and I like that. We love a good nickname. So he's kind of the main character, and he is like, I was on the football team, and I'm going to be the starting quarterback next year, but he also is like, yo, I like to also smoke pot in the alleyway with this stoner guy. And then he also is like, yo, I also like to hang out with those nerds over there who literally talk about the weirdest stuff in the world, but they're cool too. So yeah. And yeah, so we kind of get to see a lot of that, but it starts off really setting you up to be like, it's the end of the school year, you know, everybody's kind of getting hyped, we're all getting hyped, we're going to celebrate the end of the school year, and there's all these like traditions that are, they're hazing. There's no other way to put it, y'all.
They're blazing and hazing.
They're definitely blazing and hazing and doing many other things that, wow. So there's kind of hazing that's happening to the incoming freshman boys where they are getting, I can't even say it, getting paddled, Lord almighty. And I think a drinking game for this movie should be take a sip every time someone's butt gets spanked, because you'd be feeling pretty good within the first like 20 minutes. I'm just saying.
It had some frat initiation vibes that I never knew existed in high school. I thought that was a college thing.
We're gonna have to talk about that because I have many questions on the logistic. Who's planning it? Number one. How are we all getting the paddles? There's a lot of questions I have, so we're gonna come back to that. So that's happening to the boys, and to the girls, they're kind of just getting like yelled at a lot and having gross stuff thrown on them, and then they're getting humiliated. You know, it's fine for women because it's America and everything sucks for us. So, so that's that. But throughout all of this, one of the incoming freshman girls start to like connect with one of the gonna be seniors, and then she's like, I'm gonna go hang out with them. Cool. And then you have one of the incoming freshman boys who then gets connected with the main guy, Randy, and then he starts to hang out with them. So really, like, the whole rest of the movie is, okay, there's gonna be this big party, but then the party gets busted by the parents. So then they're like, we're just gonna all hang out and do what crazy kids do. We're all getting drunk and high in the 70s and hanging out, and then eventually there is a party. Although I will say, I think what makes this movie hold up is there is some kind of like underlying philosophical dialogue going on. There's somewhat of a theme, in my opinion, that I think they're trying to portray. I don't know if it's
about that piece of paper. Are you gonna sign it, Kate?
Yeah, so that piece of paper. So the coaches are like, yo, you're all pothead drunkies, and you're gonna have to sign this paper to be like, you won't do that. But like, they're still gonna do that. So like, I don't get it.
One of the lines was, what's next? They're gonna drug test us? I was like, let me tell you, fast forward, you're gonna get drug tested for everything.
Yo, I got drug tested in high school once.
Oh, really?
It was random, because it was like, if you were an athlete, you got randomly drug tested, and when I walked back in the class, I like raised my arms, and I was like, I passed!
Oh my god, I feel like you're like a wholesome person to get asked for that.
It was random, it could be anybody. So,
well.
Anyway, these guys would not pass, let's just say that. And so that's kind of an underlying theme. But the movie is, I think it's really funny. It's obviously a period piece, so you get to kind of see, and the soundtrack is like, it just brings you there, man. I mean, I think I have all these songs on my Spotify already, like, before watching this again, because of this movie. And yeah, there's a lot of good lines. And there's a lot of famous people that we get to see. We got Matthew McConaughey, we got Ben Affleck being a roid rager who should be arrested with Chuck from Footloose, because I'm afraid.
I was gonna throw out some Cobra Kai, too.
Yeah. oh man, because like, yo, he should go join that karate sensei studio because he might do okay there. I don't know, but that's what I got. What do you think? That's short, right?
Very short.
Woo!
And I would say the only thing I'd add to it is there was a lot of driving. Like, I felt like that was a theme where it's like kids got nothing going on, so they're just kind of driving around looking for a good time, and there's like a little stink of boredom in the reality of being a teenager, which made me think of my teenage years.
I thought of mine too. I was like, oh man, we used to drive around and like do stupid stuff.
And just like how boring it was. But this honestly is very fascinating to watch now because I think we are in a little bit of like a 70s revolution in terms of like free thinking and challenging the status quo. And it just is funny how kind of Mose always has a really great line. History doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme.
Oh, that's cute. He should put that on a t-shirt.
We should have. Well, Matthew McConaughey. All right. History doesn't. But didn't you like hear some of their philosophical conversations?
Oh man, it was all over.
Or like, if these are the best years of my life, somebody shoot me.
Yeah.
Like just this, just perspective, which I think kind of resonates a little bit now.
Yeah.
So I have one line for my first line, which is lots of pot and men in overalls.
Oh no, the overalls! It hurt me to see. I was like, I don't think that was a fashion trend. I'm not sure maybe it was laundry day for that character. I'm not really entirely sure what we're trying to say here. But thank God he doesn't wear that all movie because I'm worried about him.
Well, to me, they introduced the piece of paper in terms of like what to sign that the football coach needs somewhat quickly as we're meeting them on their last day of school, right? Like, doesn't that make you think that's like part of the plot?
Yes, and the one thing I do want to point out that I think is important, even though it's like quick and subtle, is the main character, and I didn't even like point this out, he has a girlfriend that he literally never hangs out with the entire movie, which, I think is again another underlying whatever. She's like, hey, are we gonna hang out? And he's like, nah, I'm gonna be busy. And she's like, okay, great, bye. And you're like, what? Why the flip are you guys dating?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows the answers. And then we do see the drug testing pretty quick. He says hi to like the nerd friends. And then there's a weird scene where one of the nerds named Tony, not Tony Soprano, everyone, don't worry. Don't panic. Tony talks about how he had a weird sex dream where he was having sex with an Abraham Lincoln lady. And I couldn't figure out where we're going with that one. So I'm not really sure.
That didn't go anywhere.
It was about an extra minute of film. So, but we get the drug testing because one of his friends is like, oh, hey, coach gave this to me. Let's give it to you. And I was like, why didn't the coach just give it to you himself? This coach sounds like doesn't want to talk to you. And like, this is stupid and I hate it. And it was dumb.
One of the lines was, they're suppressing the youth. And then someone else goes, I think they're afraid of us having a good time. And I'm like, well, you're straight up smoking pot in school.
Yeah, they
carefree. I don't know what is normal in the 70s, but it doesn't become normal in the future. So like,
no. Yeah, I didn't really understand because they made it out to be like, it's not just about drugs. It's like, you're not going to do anything that you shouldn't. And I'm like, but that's like most things for these children. So I don't really understand like what the point is because clearly they've already been doing all this stuff. And like, I don't know, I guess they still played well enough that you want them on the team again. So what are we doing? But I think that was part of the point of it, I guess.
This is like the Cherie Carey conversation about the Olympics. Number one runner. And I get the whole pot thing is like a whole other thing because whatever, she got drug tests or whatever, but like she's still beating people, so it doesn't really hurt your performance. And I'm with you. In the same scene when you go to a wood shop picture of them making the scary evil paddle that they're gonna like hit boys' butts with, they're also making a bong.
Straight up bong. Yep.
What do you do as a wood shop teacher? Like nobody cares. Nobody cares at the school.
I think I only saw two teachers, and one One was the cool lady that we'll talk more about, and the other was the middle school teacher who was like really intense and laughed at the children being afraid. So I don't know where the teachers were or what was going on, but it just seemed like a weird setup. And I have to ask you as well, if you think back to high school, did you go to school with anyone that reminded you of that character, Slater, who was the main stoner guy? Because
Definitely.
I went to high school with that guy.
Definitely.
And I think he was like kind of in my friend group for a while, and I reflectively am confused about it, and I don't know what's happening.
Well, did you get good weed off of him?
Not me, but I'm sure other people did. Yeah.
That was like his sole role, was like, get the weed, pass the weed, roll the weed.
And then he's the one who's giving like advice about the bong. He's like, oh man, you're getting air in here, man. You gotta fix this part, man. Get some gum in there, man.
Honestly, it was like they said, okay, we have an avatar that we need to make a pothead. And they're like, hair first, make it long. All right. Now put on a backwards, like grandpa hat. What are those called? Oh my god.
Yeah.
They're like, put a t-shirt, but make sure it's stretched out and like has like weed on the front. You're like, okay. Like literally, if his line the entire time was groovy, I'd be like, I believe this. This works still.
I love the part, it's later in the movie, where he's like, check you later. And then one guy's like, check you later. Check you later. He's like making fun of him. That's so
He goes,
funny.
why are you gonna be so dorky, man? Check you later.
I wanted to be like, dude, he's like a pothead. That's what they are. When you are sober, you realize that's how they are. So, anyway.
Okay, as we get introduced, because we're slowly seeing these paddles being made, and the hazing ritual is about to begin.
The slaughter of the youths is coming soon.
Who comes in from one of our old podcast episodes but Connie Conehead?
Oh, Connie Conehead! Yeah, she does not have a conehead. She's got some bangs, dope. She covered up that conehead with the bangs.
Which
I'll tell
is
you that.
played by Michelle Burke.
Okay.
And she says, hey, listen, I know my little brother is gonna be a freshman.
Rookie mistake.
Can you take it easy on him? And they all were like smiling, and that just made them want to kill him.
Honestly, though, like, what the
All right.
Like, what? Like, why are you... Don't say anything. These people are crazy.
Crazy.
Like, that one guy, like, literally wanted to kill someone, so I'm afraid. I don't know why you think that's, like, gonna make things better.
Okay, besides the whole, like, hazing and physically beating the crap out of everyone and people thinking this is okay because they're children, what I don't understand is I'm in high school, and it's the last day of school. I am gone.
Yeah.
I am not
Oh, yeah.
creating a ritual. That's what I didn't understand about this movie. Is it the first day of school and the freshmen are there and then like everyone's all together? They had to do so much work that they drove to the junior high.
Yes.
I'm like, do you have like a map?
This is what I'm saying.
Is Mikey leading from the Goonies on how to do this adventure? Because this is so much effort for high schoolers. I'd never do that.
This is a production. This is an Ocean's 11 heist. All right, we have a plan. We have players in place. We've got, stations we got to be at. They had to figure out who was actually an incoming freshman, because that's what I didn't understand. I was like, I never know anyone's age. I would assume all of the children are the same age, so I would be beating up like a 6th grader, and then I get like arrested or something stupid.
Well, and what are they getting? Are they going to the junior high, getting a yearbook, going through the registration list, deciding, and then looking at a cross-reference of a picture? This is the 70s. There's no Facebook, okay? Like, I don't understand how the logistics of this. And then, to make it worse, we add on the scariest character ever, who I thought was Ben Affleck.
It is Ben Affleck.
Who, let me get this straight. You flunked out of your senior year, so you're doing senior year again, so you're more angry, so you had to do this twice? You had to do this registration process twice? Ugh, it's terrifying!
I think what's funny about that subplot, too, is, like, this is the last day of school, so Homeboy legit, probably same day, found out, yo, sucker, you failed, and you have to do everything again. And he just got through that grief real quick, and I think he was honestly kind of happy about it, because he, to me, is, like, a budding Matthew McConaughey character, where, like, you're gonna kind of be stuck, like, you peaked, and now you don't wanna go down, so you're just gonna kind of keep trying to ride that horse, as sad as it is, and wow, he's a lot.
It's really hard for me not to make a J-Lo joke about, like, going back to the same year, going back to the same woman, but, He, as like a young actor, was terrifying.
Yes.
And what he played so well is that he was part of the crew,
Right.
but because they were afraid of him. But the scene where he, gets humiliated, the crew's like, yeah, we always hated you. And it was really kind of like high school smooth, right? Like, people are best friends and then they hate you the next. And then, like, you're in the clique, you're out of the clique. And he was just such a good side character to all of this.
Yeah, and it was good that they had someone like that because it helped, obviously, with the, like, the then revenge plot line with the little guys.
Oh my god.
Who are the little freshman children. So these seniors, or soon-to-be seniors, cut class. So, bye. See you later, bye. Drive to the middle school. They install a, like, speaker, megaphone system. So again, this is the Ocean's 11 part coming through.
Aisle 7, clean up on aisle 7.
They had a electronics guy, they had a voice guy, they had a driver, there's a lot of players. And they make an announcement basically being like, yo, if you guys come out, then we'll all still paddle you, but like it'll be better than if you try to escape. And then they call out Connie's brother, whose name is Mitch, and they're like, Mitch! Oh, Mitch, we're gonna get you, Mitch! And then, okay, what's one thing you noticed about Mitch's character throughout the movie?
Ooh, I don't know, actually.
Okay.
Because there's a lot. He's kind of his own, like, unique person. What do you mean?
This would be added to my made-up drinking game for this movie, is to drink every time Mitch makes a weird scrunched-up face.
Yes,
because
okay,
that was this actor's go-to. He'd be like, oh man, oh, like I felt like he should have been making that noise the whole time, but he wasn't. So, yep, that's Mitch.
Yeah, he, like, sucked on a lemon, and he was like...
Yeah. Oh, man.
But basically, can you imagine you're a junior high teacher who, by the way, that guy's name was Mr. Payne.
Okay, then. I can see it now, because he did not help.
And so the kids come up to you and say, Mr. Payne, it's the last day of school, and the serial killer Ben Affleck's outside, and he's gonna whip us to death. Could we get out early? And then he goes into an entire monologue about the war and how he had to leave people at the war and laughs in their face. And then they just go back down to their seats. And I thought, well, this doesn't hold up anymore.
And I thought, is this guy secretly Lieutenant Dan in disguise because something's happening? Because, like, what? That is so weird. I don't understand.
Yep.
Yeah, so they don't get to leave early, and then basically you see kind of the end of the day, and this is also where we kind of jump back to the high school, and you see the really cool teacher, and we only see this teacher because Randy is like, oh, I gotta make an appearance in my last class, I guess, I don't know, like, do you? And then his friend hits on the teacher, and the teacher's super cool, and basically, like, she non-verbally calls him a scrub, and then she proceeds to say this line in class. She goes, the 68th Democratic Convention is probably the most time of my life! And I was like, I want to be in this class. This is great. And then she makes a comment about, like, hey, when you're all celebrating your 4th of July centennial brouhaha, just remember what it's all about. Bunch of white guys didn't want to pay their taxes.
And I was like, wait, is this 2021? What year is this?
Why is this still relevant? God damn it.
God damn it, the patriarchy is deep.
No.
Okay, so quick pause for the director / writer / creator, Richard Linklater, who I did not realize this, Kate, but he did School of Rock.
You're not hardcore. Oh, that makes so much sense now. The good music. The
music, and he did Boyhood. But when you read about him, he's kind of got this like anti-establishment personality.
Because the man is gonna get you down. Miss Mullins, she's the man. Yeah, I can see it.
I feel like he sprinkled in a little bit of like his kind of personality.
Yeah.
And it works. It works really well because it's the 70s and you have literally the opposite. You have a teacher like that talking about, these white rich men don't want to pay taxes. And then you have the football coach that's like, drugs are bad, but you guys have been playing amazing, but I need my starting quarterback to sign this paper, so I run your life. It's like, and all of them basically got to do whatever they wanted. I mean, they're smoking pot everywhere, drinking and driving and beating the shit out of little kids.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. It's great. Keep it up, everyone.
Ripping mailboxes to shreds, and yet they're like oppressed, air quotes oppressed, which like, what a joke.
Right. But I feel like that kind of does get called out subtly in little ways throughout the movie. Like, even at the end, the girlfriend is like, what are you about? Like, you literally like the king of the school, and you're like, woe is me. And then he's like, well, life sucks. And you're like, okay, well, this is just, Entitlement, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
In the 70s.
Oh, yeah. And then, with these middle schoolers, so you're junior high, you're 14. Okay, that's 14, you're going to freshman year. One of them has a car?
Oh, I wrote, wow, here's a little kid about to illegally drive a car, hashtag Goodfellas, hashtag Karate Kid style. Yep. Yep. That
Ray
happens.
Liotta's like, hey, listen, I'm 11, we drive cars here. So he's like, okay, we can get away from scary Ben Affleck because I have a car and I'll drive you. And Mitch and I forget the other friend's name.
So one kid was named Carl, but I have till this day never figured out what the brown-haired kid is named, and he reminds me of Ralph Macchio. So I called him Ralph Macchio in my notes, but I know it's not him. It's not.
Okay, basically Carl and Mitch make a beeline to the house.
Yes.
And the mom comes out with a shotgun before Ben Affleck is about to smack their butts.
Honestly,
what?
That's pretty amazing. I mean, I think that lady deserves a pat on the back because that's pretty cool.
Also, do you know where all this is set?
It's in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense, y'all.
Yes.
Woo!
I was like, can you imagine the Jersey version of someone coming out with a shotgun? I just can't see it,
They come out with a thing of salami and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, that was another Sopranos. I'm so sorry."
Jesus, Kate. But because of this embarrassment to Ben Affleck, then that makes him on this crazed path. You embarrassed me with your mom and the shotgun, which is a little traumatic, but you're also traumatizing these kids that then he's on a mission to go and take them down, and it's horrifying.
Yep, he's the worst. And meanwhile, while this traumatic experience is happening, we've got more trauma happening at the school. Right on the school steps. Don't worry. All the adults are gone, I suppose.
Do you need a permit for the school parking lot to haze the incoming freshmen? Now, they basically bust over the girls from the junior high school.
It could be classified as a kidnapping, I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know if all the girls consented to this, but they're basically they're given pacifiers. So cool. Then they are told to fall on the ground, and Parker Posey, she is a crazy person in this movie, but we love her. She's a queen, and she is kind of leading this circus, and she's just kind of yelling at all them.
She goes, "All right, you freshmen.
All right.
Air raid!
That was pathetic!" She's so scary. Oh my god.
Oh my god. And they make them propose.
Oh, we hate it.
To these juniors that will be seniors, and it's just so degrading. And they were being sexual.
Yeah, they were. And the poor kids are I haven't had sex ed because I'm in Texas.
Literally, I kept thinking this movie doesn't exist with cell phones, because this would be on the internet.
Should be all over TikTok. We'd already have some GoFundMes. The ACLU would have been up in here.
Oh, yeah. It is not happening in cell phone monitoring world.
But if this wasn't able to happen, we wouldn't get our love story. And listeners, I said that with a big old quotation mark on my fingers, because what are we doing? We didn't need it. But basically, the incoming freshman girl, her name is Sabrina, told to propose to Tony, who had had a weird sex dream about an Abraham Lincoln lady, let's not forget. So he's weirdo. And they, I don't know, like start to like each other? What? Why?
Okay, I do not have kids in a high school age, but I've heard from coworkers and like, you know, older people in my life, this is the worst age for high schoolers because you have kids turning 18 and then you have kids that are like 14, 15 and they're all together and it is
statutory.
It is. It's so creepy and that's essentially what's happening. She's 14. He's basically, for all we know, already 18, turning 18. Now, okay, what I will give, because he's part of the nerd credit, they're not like going and immediately having sex.
Right.
It's a very wholesome night of like talking, making out, and like kissing at the end of the night. But it's still weird. It's still really weird.
It's still weird. And honestly, Sabrina, honey, I mean, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You're about to, you know, enter a new pond. I feel like there's more fish we could kind of be mingling with. And you're kind of settling. And he had a weird dream. Like, there's weird things in that brain. So just be careful. I don't know. I think you could have done better.
I think the point of like showing the hazing to these like younger kids and then showing we'll invite you to a party was the movie's way of saying we're not torturing them forever. It's just this like coming of age initiation. And once it's gone, then they're cool. And actually that was very interesting because even Scary Ben Affleck wasn't trying to like beat up Mitch once he got past there. Or Parker Posey. Parker Posey had a drunken moment.
Yeah, I don't know if she's gonna remember her words after that because that girl was blacked out. So who knows what happened.
Ooh-wee. But Kate, the big party that's gonna go down, we start to see what unfolds. Yikes.
Snap. What a train wreck. First of all, you scrubs are smoking in a room. Nobody's got a window open. Homeboy's got like 8 windows. They're all closed. Open a window. You're in Texas. It's not cold out. Come on. They're not even trying. Smoking in the room. The mom basically comes up and she's like, some man is here with kegs of beer. Did you order these? And he's like, what? Kegs of beer? Surprise! Well, let me go talk to him. And then, you know, the parents are basically like, yeah, we're gonna not go away for the weekend. So you're an idiot. Also, you're smoking weed in your room and we all know it. So what are we doing?
Well, the thing that made that so funny. So first of all, the keg guy tried to cover for him. He was like,
did.
I went to the wrong address. Oopsie. Which I thought it was so funny. But the funniest part about that was all of the kids thinking the party was going on. So they go to the door. They go to the door and like the scary dad would come out. Which I don't know about you, Kate, but I've definitely had that experience.
Where you've gone to a house and you thought it was a party and it was a scary dad? No.
Like you thought the parents were away or you thought like whatever and the parents were definitely there like, we know what's going down and you'd have to like run away. Yeah, 100,000%. Like, it's just, these things happen because kids are dumb and they think they get away with stuff.
I love the group of kids that run up to the door thinking, like, it's a party, and they're literally, like, toking on the front stoop. I was like, hey, get away from the street. Goodness me. Like, nobody gives a shit. It's fine.
Endless weed.
Yep, but this is, now we are at a baseball game with the soon-to-be freshman boys. Don't worry, all the friends are on the same team. Thank God. And also, don't worry because we have scary gonna-be senior hecklers watching the game with threatening paddles. Are there adults and potentially families and potentially law enforcement around? Yeah! Does anyone care? No! Nobody cares. There is no protection.
Literally, the coach is like, guess you don't want the game to end. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrifying.
The best part of this scene is the friends literally go up to him, and the one guy, Carl, is like, hey man, you know, can you just like go out a different way so you lead them away? Like, they're really just here for you, man. And then Mitch makes his scrunched up lemon face, and you know, the scene continues. But I was like, wow, your friends suck.
They do stink, but he takes it. He goes, okay. And it worked out well for him because he kind of had the night of his life after that.
That's true, he did, but it was filmed in slow motion, and the song is No More Mr. Nice Guy. I was like, all right, it's a little on the nose for me, but I get it. I understand.
I felt so uncomfortable watching that scene.
Yeah. And his, like, long hair is, like flying every time his butt gets spanked.
Well, and then Pink, Randy
Pink Floyd. Yeah.
They were like, okay, Randy, where you been? You gotta get the licks into this kid. And I'm like, this is horrifying.
Oh, okay, so yes, this is another question I don't understand about this hazing dynamic. I would like someone to give me kind of an info session with a PowerPoint, a Q&A, if you will, because I don't understand. So every going to be senior has to spank each child? Because, like, that's a lot of commitment.
It's a lot.
I thought it was just, like, as long as somebody hits each one, like, we good. But no, it was like, we all gotta get in there. I was like, this is, like, someone might die. I'm a little worried for the ones who haven't gone through puberty yet.
Well,
I don't
and
know what's
that's,
going on.
that, with this movie, that's what doesn't hold up, is all the hazing, like, beating people stuff. But Randy is like, oh, I'm gonna smack you, and then he doesn't. And then he's like, you want to ride home, and do you want to hang out?
Yeah.
Which he kind of was trying to say, like, that happened to me, you're now done,
Right.
You'll do it to someone else, like, you know, you got past it, now you're cool, man. Are you cool, man?
Yeah, Randy was definitely, like, the most level-headed one.
Yes.
And I feel like they were kind of making him that way to also be like, see, he's kind of, like, moving away from the football player,
Yeah.
aggressive alpha male mentality, and he's a little more, like, laid back, relaxed, and, like, he smokes weed, and he's friendly, and he's, like, friends with a lot of different people. So I thought it made sense to kind of have him,
Yes,
like,
definitely.
be like that. And then he was like, yeah, man, it'd be cool if you, like, showed up and, like, you know, showed them it didn't, like, mean anything to you. And then, like, the kid goes and nobody gives a that he's there. They're like, Mitch, thank God you're here. We missed you. I was like, what? Okay.
Well,
This
I
is a
know.
weird
I'm like, this is some, like, trauma abuse stuff.
Yeah, it was very Stockholm Syndrome. Mitch is like, thank God, guys, I love you all.
I know, you're like, Mitch, are you okay? He sucks on another lemon. You're like, Mitch!
Mitch, blink twice if you need help.
Oh,
no.
man. But your favorite scene is coming up that you quoted when you referenced this movie.
Yes, I had to cut it out of the last episode, but I'll say it now. One of my favorite scenes in this movie is you see the nerds. So it's Tony, one guy's name is Mike, and then the redhead girl, who I think is Cynthia. They're just driving in a car, kind of cruising, doing nothing. I think they had already at this point tried to go to the party and then realized that the parents were home.
Yep.
So they're driving, and then the guy, Mike, is basically saying, oh, you know how I was going to go to law school, and like, I don't think I want to do that, and blah, blah, blah. And then the one guy, Tony, turns around and he goes, well, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? And Mike goes, I want to dance! And it's obviously in movie land, it's not a Footloose reference, but it brings me to Footloose.
Ooh, it does.
Woo,
Part of me was
dog.
like, listen, I have some friends that are in law school, and they all don't like it either. So I think
Just
maybe
say.
you, like, dodged a bullet.
Yeah. You should go dance. Go
You
join
should go
Kevin
dance.
Bacon. Kevin Bacon in the state over probably is doing gymnastics. Just go talk to him.
Yeah.
You guys could do a little dance montage. It's gonna be a great day.
And to be honest, we come from the future. TikTok is coming. You're gonna be training for this future moment. Oh, man.
It's so real. But there's a lot of other just kind of like small scenes in here too.
So we also have to talk about how there was this like cool arcade,
So cool!
bar. Now, in the 70s, when you're 18, you can drink. So that was also what was kind of bizarre about this is like when they're seniors, a lot of them are 18, a lot of them could like be in a bar. So it was this like bar arcade vibe.
Yeah.
That kind of for like till them figuring out what to do since this party was busted, they were all hanging out there, drinking beers, no police, no
I was gonna
nothing.
say no adults. There was no cover. Everything was free in there. I was like, can I hang out there right now?
No wristbands, Kate. Can you
No
imagine like the
wristbands.
Jersey Shore wristband
Okay.
action?
It's open containers. I felt like we were in New Orleans. I didn't know what was going on.
Ugh.
It looked like a great time. So I was like, wow, what a day. Thank God. And it was either people were hanging out there or you saw people hanging out at like a drive-in fast food place or whatever it's called. But most people were at this, and it was called the Emporium. And this is where we meet Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
All right. Hi, everyone.
Wow, he is a trip.
And then he goes, you got a joint? And then Mitch is like, no, man. Or he's like, do you smoke?
Yeah.
And then Mitch is like, no, man. He goes, it'd be a lot cooler if you did. That's a line where I'm I'm like, I should say that more. Not about the joint or smoking. Just ask someone a question. If they say no, I'll just follow up with, well, it'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Okay, if you're in high school and somebody who graduated comes back to hang out with you, I'm sorry, but there is a little bit of like, this person's kind of a loser.
Yeah.
But somehow Matthew McConaughey didn't have that interaction, and I think it's because he got them all beer. So he was always like getting them beer. He was always like, he had the money because he had a job because he wasn't in college, or he's got the Aerosmith tickets, or he's got the car to drive him around. Like, he kind of always had a thing, and it was very like sad when you really like take it back. But he was kind of cool, so then you didn't think about it being sad.
And he was hitting on all of the girls, and his exact line is, that's the thing I love about these high school girls, man. I get older, they stay the same age, and I threw up in my mouth.
I bet you now, being older, is like, damn it, I had to say that line. Yeah, he's like, oh, gross.
But again, like, this is another thing I think this movie does right, is similar to the Slater character. I feel like I knew someone who was like that, who was a creepy, older dude.
Yeah.
Maybe he was a little attractive, but it was still kind of like, ooh, like, what? Why?
So creepy.
Why aren't you hanging out with people your own age? What's going on? And it was just like different, like, stereotypes, but they weren't only period piece stereotypes, because there are still people like that now, unfortunately. There are still stoners like Slater. There are still high school jocks who are like macho, and I think that's kind of why, again, this movie is still fun to watch, because it does bring you back in weird ways. But man, I wish I could have hung out at an Emporium. I would have been foosballing all night.
Well, and at this point in the scene, is you're kind of like, all right, they're just kind of getting drunk and smoking weed, and everyone's trying to, like, you know, talk to everyone, trying to figure out what to do. You then get reverted to a middle school dance party.
Oh God! And I was like, no!
Which, how in the world? You're in a school gym. Talk me through this. You go, to the back janitor's closet, which was big?
The blacklight room?
And there's a makeout room. And I'm thinking, how is this happening? There's literally chaperones 10 feet away.
Think it was at the school. I think it was at a rec center. So it was like a YMCA.
Okay.
But I don't think our YMCA has a dark room makeout room. So I'm confused who set that up, because it was probably a chaperone, and I'm concerned about it. Yeah, so the two friends, Carl and Ralph Macchio, go to get their other friend, who I don't remember that kid's name either. And they're like, yo, this is lame, let's leave. But then they like don't really have a plan, and then they're just wandering around the neighborhood at night, so...
Which doesn't end well, because then the one kid gets beat up.
He gets paddled, and it's by Scary Ben Affleck. And then it kind of only stops because then the group of girls, Connie, and then the younger girl, Sabrina, they like pull up, and they're like, yo, like, lay off them, whatever. And then it kind of like ends, and it's fine.
But they have this like conversation about, that's middle school. He was like, I'm making out, man. Like, he's like, but that's middle school girls. Like, we're high schoolers now. And I'm like, really? You're looking forward to getting the crap beat out of you? It sounds terrifying.
Exactly. And then we kind of cut back, and it's back at the Emporium, and then Sabrina is now at the Emporium. So Mitch and Sabrina are like, oh my God, we're babies. What are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. You're like, okay. We're just
that wasn't air in this movie.
Yeah.
When you're that age, sure, you could go to the Emporium and the bar, but it doesn't really have everybody, because not everybody is like all 18, and they don't have a lot of money, so they kind of just want to have that party that they could all hang out together, but it's just a lot of downtime. It's a lot of downtime. It's a lot of driving. It's really boring. I mean, when you're in high school, like, you're kind of boring, you know?
Yeah.
And they then shoot to the scene where they're busting the mailboxes.
Oh my God.
And Mitch throws a bowling ball into a car, and all of them were like, you took it too far, Mitch.
Mitch gets peer pressure to do a lot of things once he's like hanging out with them. Like, he gets peer pressured into throwing the bowling ball. He gets peer pressured to being the lookout when they send the one guy, Don, into the store, and Don's like, I'm gonna steal. Mitch, be the lookout. And Mitch is like, I don't think that's a good idea, scrunching up lemon. And he's like, do it. And then he does it. And then Mitch gets peer pressured later because the one guy's like, yo, go buy me beer. And then he does. So
Well, and this whole snowball effect
Oh my
is
God.
what gets the neighbor to come with the gun.
gun, yeah.
And point it in their face to say, you kids messed up my mailbox and I'm gonna get you. And that's where it escalated. I was like, okay. There's a lot of parents with guns in this movie.
In Texas, yeah.
And they're pointing a lot at kids.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of kids doing whatever they want, drunk driving, being high and driving, and I'm terrified. And they somehow basically drive away from the scary dude that then keeps shooting at them. And then that's it.
Yeah, honestly, if I lived in this town, I don't think I'd go out past dark because there's something bad will happen to me. I'll get a garbage can thrown in my face. My car's going to explode with a bowling ball. It's not going to be pretty. But I also want to point out the scene where Mitch, then eventually does go to buy the beer. He goes in, and who is the store clerk talking to, Bridge?
Oh, I missed that. Who was it?
So the store clerk is talking to a lady, and he's like, make sure you eat a green thing every day and drink water. And it's a pregnant lady who is smoking a cigarette and buying alcohol. And she is heavily pregnant. And then the guy finishes by going, see you tomorrow night. I don't know what you're doing.
So it's the women who are smoking and drinking liquor that create the Ben Afflecks that beat other kids that then turn into adults that point guns at kids. And then we have like the Texas way.
Yeah.
Is that how it goes?
Or they turn into idiot store clerks who are literal dipshits. Because he's like, oh, you're 18, right? And Mitch is like, totally. Like, he's like a cracked voice through puberty. And he's like, great. All right, here's all the alcohol. Get out of my face.
Okay, so then we get into the like Moon Tower, man. We finally got a party spot, and you're like, thank God.
Yes, they're like, yeah, we're all gonna go to the Moon Tower. Matthew McConaughey's like, yeah, I'll go get it set up. What a great day. And then Mitch runs into his middle school friends, and they're creeping around the corner, like, wow, man, you're buying beer? And I'm like, well, it's easy for him to do it. Y'all can just walk in here now. So, dude, apparently that guy doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit.
All right.
Just give him money. And they tell him, oh, our friend, they got him. And he was like, was it Ben Affleck? And he was like, yeah. And he's like, God, I hate that guy. And he does his lemon face. And then he's like, yo, let's get him back. And then we have another Ocean's 11 heist, y'all. This is a plan. There are steps.
I was scared for them. I was like, don't do it. I would have
my
been the
God.
nervous like friend that would be like, I'm not part of this. Don't do it. It's terrifying.
There was a lot of moving parts, and it even involved Mitch dragging in the one girl, I think her name was Julie, that he got introduced to, who he ends up like making out with later.
Yeah.
And her role is to be like, oh, yo, they got this kid Carl, and then she says it like near Ben Affleck, and he's like, Carl! Oh my God, my thirst for blood for Carl is raging. Let me go get him. And then Ben Affleck literally runs out of the place to go beat up a child.
Horrifying.
But it's a prank. And again, I was nervous because I'm like, how are you guys going to know when to drop the paint? He's doing like, pretend I'm going to hit you, and then he doesn't. Like, you're not even dropping the paint yet. Like, I'm nervous for Carl. I'm afraid. But then it was okay.
But they nailed it. And then everyone hated Ben Affleck, and he looked bad, and he was mad, and then he smashed his paddle, Kate.
I know he's going to have to go back to wood shop. Woof. Make a new
School's
one.
canceled. The doors are locked.
He's got to wait till September. Oh, geez. So he can go get a wooden bong and use that instead.
Oh my
those are
God.
things. Yeah, and then he's gone. Like, we don't see him
is
again
gone.
in the movie.
Thank
Thank
God.
God. I know. He has I go, Ben Affleck has a little fit and leave.
Oh, thank God. And everyone's like, we hated that loser.
Yep. So then it's just really like now they're getting ready for the party.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in here where Matthew McConaughey, I suppose, is just driving around, word of mouth style, sharing the news of the party, and he pulls up next to the nerds who are eating at the drive-in, and he's talking to the girl and basically hitting on her, and he's like, yo, party at the Moon Tower. And she's like, cool. He's like, better come. She's like, all right. And then he's like, you need a ride? And she's like literally the driver of the car, so she's like, no, I have a car. Like, that should have been your first clue. He's an idiot. And then he goes, well, you ought to ditch those two geeks in the car right now, but we'll worry about that later.
Oh, it's so, he's good. He's really good.
Yeah, and then she was like smitten, and they were like, gross. And I was like, gross.
He loves redheads, and
He
you're like,
does.
oh god. And then they do one more stupid thing that, like, I know I'm getting older, is they climb the moon tower, and I kept thinking someone's gonna fall off and die, but they didn't. They didn't, Kate. It was fine.
They don't, and I love how the two guys are like making fun of Mitch, and they're like, oh man, a freshman fell down and he hit his head on every step of the ladder. He only had one beer, man. How many did you have, man? And Mitch goes, 4. He goes, you're dead, man. You're so dead.
But then they were like bonding, right?
Yes.
Like they were like teaching him, like, this girl likes you, you gotta play it cool.
Right.
Don't show her you like her too much. I also love the scene where Don was like, I want to get beer by the keg. And he's like, watch this, man. And he's like, the cops are here. And everyone runs. And then he goes up to the keg and like gets like first in line. I thought that was so funny.
That reminded me of college. I'm like, you ever want to get people out of your place? You just pretend there's cops and woo, it'll be a stampede out of there.
Oh my god. How about this serious drunk part?
Well, I was gonna say, there is a very scary man who goes, again, 0 to 100, who
Ugh.
literally gets mad because the one nerd Mike is like, wow, someone's token. Which, honestly, I think I would have said, too. So, like, are you gonna punch me in the face? Because, like, give it a try. I'd like to see it. Actually, don't do that. But still.
Don't hurt
I'm
me.
just trying to get some beer, leave me alone. And then that becomes a whole subplot where then Mike basically doesn't have a good time the rest of the party because he's like seething and obsessed with this moment where he's like, oh, I feel so embarrassed. Like, I need to hit him. And they're like, what? That's dumb. And he's like, I've never hit anyone. I'm gonna do it. And then he does it.
But he ends up getting the crap beat out of him.
He does. And then afterwards he was like, do you think I got my butt kicked? And the friend was like, no.
She was like,
very unconvincingly.
she goes, people don't remember who won or lost in a fight. They just remember the fight. And I was
That's
like, that is the nicest
pretty poignant. Yep.
/ most honest assessment of the situation.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But I was talking about the footballer yelling at Randy, who was like, you're not gonna sign the thing, man. We're gonna need you. We could go state. We've been working forever for this. And I'm like, oh
Benny?
my god. Serious conversations when you're drunk is never a great idea.
Benny was having a lot of emotions. He was super butthurt about it. I feel like Benny needs a better hobby besides beating up kids and making paddles. Because, like,
Woof.
Something's
He's on his
happening.
way to Ben Affleck Town, am I right?
yeah. But honestly, like, this whole party scene, it really, I think, again, like, what's fun about it is, I mean, if you were someone who, I guess, went to parties or whatever, like, I was, like, thinking back, I'm like, yo, I've been to parties like this, and those
Oh,
are
yeah.
fun, where it's just, like, a whole crap ton of people, and, like, different people mingling, there's, like, random conversations. There's one part where Slater is, like, he's, like, talking, he's like, that song's about aliens, man. We're the aliens, man. And he's like, George Washington, he believes in aliens. He was in a cult. Cult believes in aliens. And I was like, oh, did you invent the X-Files? Because I'm here for this conversation. Keep them coming. It's just funny. You just kind of see people doing different stuff. You see Parker Posey dancing by herself drunkenly in the field. Amazing. Oh my God.
That same alien conversation, though, they make a really interesting point. They're like, the 50s, it sucked, man. And that made the 60s rule.
Yeah.
And right now, the 70s, and they all looked at each other and they're like, the 70s suck. And I'm like,
Suck.
really? Because it looks like heaven.
Yeah.
And then they're like, maybe the 80s will rule. And I was trying to do the math, and I was like, well, we know 2020 definitely sucked.
yeah, there is no
Like-
argument about that.
It doesn't matter where it lands.
Right.
It sucked. So we got to get out of this decade.
But I think that's another, like, and it's not, like, said explicitly throughout this movie, but I do think, like, one of the messages that they're trying to portray is, again, a lot of these kids are coming off very entitled, like, they're having such a fun time, they're doing cool stuff, and most of them are complaining about, wow, we're bored, or like, man, our life sucks, and all that, and then I don't think it's ironic that the movie decides to play the song Slow Ride most in the movie, and I think it's really supposed to be like, yo, why don't you just enjoy where you're at right now, and not
Yep.
worry about what things could be, or where they're going, like, you just have to, like, live for right now and, like, enjoy that and be mindful of it. And we're the aliens, man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, man. And then there's the most, I wanted to see if you and I had this conversation, because there was the most older sibling to young sibling conversation where Jody goes off on Mitch, and she goes, I can't believe you're out this late. Mom and Dad don't care, and, like, you get away with everything. I couldn't get away with anything. And she goes on and on and on, and I was like, wow, did I do that to Katie? Katie, mic's on you. Did I?
I feel like if it wasn't you, it was Jimmy, because I do remember someone being like, I feel like this might have been Jimmy. I got very heavily accused of having alcohol in the basement when I was like 15 and I had friends over. I feel like it was Jimmy, and he was like, you had alcohol and I got in trouble. And I was like, it wasn't me. Oh no, I don't know what's happening. Although I did sneak stuff down there a lot. So then in my
there was a like, bar down there.
Like, yeah, we kind of, I mean, that house was a good house for stuff like that, because you had a very secluded basement. So.
But okay, so like it's a snapshot in the 70s, but there are definitely siblings in 2021 being like, oh man, as the third kid, you had it easier. They were so tough on me as the first kid. And you're like, says every older sibling ever. Right. You know, like I thought that was so timeless. The other thing is like they eventually run out of beer, which happens at every one of these parties.
Yeah.
And Kate, then it gets a little cheesy. They end up back at the football fields. Yeah. I thought that was cheesy.
I forget whose idea that was. It was probably Slater, who was like already ripped through like 100 bongs at this point. So I don't even know. But yeah, they go on the 50 and it's Randy, Slater, the guy Don, it's Matthew McConaughey, and then it's the girl Siobhan who's kind of hanging with Don, and then it's Randy's girlfriend. And this is the only other time Randy actually hangs out with his girlfriend. Oh, and by the way, he cheated on her 2 scenes earlier with Connie Conehead in the woods.
And I think her name is Simone.
Yeah, and they're all just kind of smoking, and then they're making fun of football, so...
Oh my god.
Cool.
Kate, I wrote, this is like a drunken version of Remember the Titans.
Oh no, I did think of Remember the Titans. I was like, what would Coach Boone say to this right now? He'd give you a motivational speech in the woods.
My daddy doesn't speak like that. My daddy, oh.
My daddy smoked a lot of weed and my mama left him. Oh my god.
But they just like, I don't know, they were like acting like the coach yelled at them so much. And you're right, it's this total entitlement that,
oh my god.
I think it was Simone that was like, what, like you mentioned earlier, like, are you guys for real? You're like, you rule the school, life is so easy for you, like, get out of here. And then literally, like, this is talk about some white privilege, then the cops come.
Oh my god.
And they're fine. They're absolutely fine. They don't get in trouble. They're high, they're drunk, they're underage, they're trespassing property.
Breaking and entering, yeah.
The coach gets called, and the coach is like, good thing the cops called me.
I'm like, why did we call their parent? Why did we call the cop? What's happening?
I hate all of it.
It was dumb. And then the coach is like, I see you hanging out with those losers, and you have to hang out with those other losers who I like better, and don't smoke weed. And then he crumples the paper and throws it in his coach's face. And I was like, dang.
Yeah, that was definitely. And then Don, who is the only football player that I could see him staying friends with. Because he goes, so that's it? Yeah. Then you're done with football? And it was like, yeah. He's like, all right. Yeah. Okay. I was like,
anyway.
Don's cool. Don's like insane, but he's cool.
Don got cooler throughout the movie.
Yes, he did.
He was,
he did.
A little too much in the beginning. But
yes.
And then it ends, and they are off to buy Aerosmith tickets, and we hear again, slow ride, take it easy. Woo!
Oh, no. We take a snapshot to Mitch with Julie ending the best night of his life, and he tries to sneak in the house, and it's morning at this point. Yeah. And his mom, kind of to his older sister's like prediction, is like, all right, this is your first get out of jail free card. Hope it was worth it. And I'm like, that's a cool mom move.
That was a cool mom move.
Because like they're gonna do it anyway, so you kind of want to be like, hey, I'm not like always gonna be cool, but I'm not not like an
Yeah.
idiot. I understand you guys all drink and do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But so much driving. Like, my ending is like, and the story ends with driving. This whole movie was driving. All we did was drive.
That can be another part of the drinking game. Take a sip every time we're in a car.
Oh my God.
Then you're all dead.
Oh
So,
my God.
It was worth it.
Woo! Okay, that was a lot. We were dazed, confused, and driving.
Woo! All right, so Bridge, I gotta ask, would you watch it or don't watch it for this movie?
Definitely watch it.
Yeah.
However, the hazing, bullying part,
I agree. I would definitely watch it. I think this is a movie that I couldn't see a middle schooler enjoying this because I don't
No.
think they would be able to relate to some of
No.
this.
totally.
And not even just the hazing parts, just like the other parts. So I feel like it's something that like in later in high school and like I feel like that's me. I think I first watched this movie. I was like late in high school or early college, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I do not have a quote for this movie, but I will tell you that I went for the attempt. The question I was gonna ask him, if he allowed me, I was gonna literally bum rush him and be like, all right, Dad, our movie's Dazed and Confused. It's about a bunch of potheads. Bridge and I would like to know, have you ever smoked weed before?
I wish you did.
We all know what the answer would be, but, you know, it'd be funny to hear him say
what do you
it.
think the answer would be?
Oh, I think it would be absolutely.
So I don't.
Really?
Yeah, I think Dad would definitely say, "No, I wasn't those fruity hippies." Like, I think he kind of was more of a
Ugh.
grease lightning. I stick to booze and cigarettes, and I didn't, like, jump into weed. Do you know who I think has smoked weed?
Mom.
Definitely Mom. Guitar, like
Yeah.
Flower Child, definitely.
Yeah.
Which I would love to get both of them to smoke weed now. I mean, how much fun would that be? Imagine serving your Italian dinner after that. They'd
I
love
would
it.
have had to have more food, I'll tell you that.
Dad'd
Tell
be
you
like,
what,
this is
so.
great. Oh my God, I love it.
All right, well, Bridge, I have our next movie. So this is a very different genre.
Oh.
And a very different year.
Oh.
And although I will say I wanted to do this for two reasons. Number one, it is relevant to summer. So
Oh.
similar to Dazed and Confused, it gives you kind of
Nice.
that summer feel, and you're going to be a little maybe mortified when I tell you where we're going with this. But number two reason I want to pick this is because this is a fan pick. This was a movie requested by Daniel.
Oh.
And Daniel did the correct steps. Daniel, good job, sir. He went
But-
on our website. He filled out the form. Daniel didn't really give us a lot of words. He was very to the point. He's a no-nonsense kind of guy.
Is this Daniel's son, the one and
I
only?
don't think this is Daniel's son. If this is you, give us a sign.
'Cause I dream of that
need
happening.
to get you on the podcast.
Mr. Miyagi's like, I would like a movie from you two. Love Mr. Miyagi.
No, I don't think it is. So, yeah, he didn't really elaborate much.
Wow.
But I can certainly elaborate on this movie because it's a good run. And, oh my God, I'm dying at this rating. This movie is rated PG. Oh,
What?
and I'm dying at the description. This movie is described as an adventure thriller. Okay.
What year?
Oh, we're going back. This might be one of the earliest movies we've ever done. This is 1975.
Whoa.
This is a very iconic movie. I know you've seen it even though you do not enjoy this genre.
Oh,
This is,
no.
in my opinion, it's a summer movie, but it might make you a little afraid to actually celebrate summer when you watch it. This is a movie about a killer shark. Dun dun.
Oh.
Bridge, we're watching Jaws.
Wow. Yes.
Yes.
Wait. This might traumatize me because I have been swimming in the lake.
Okay, Bridget,
and
there's no sharks in there.
I know, but what happens is you're there all alone. It's the morning, and you're like, "There's no sharks. There's no sharks." But you know, there's some weirdo Betty White somewhere on the coast, and she's feeding some sharks, and they're about to eat me, and I'm gonna watch this movie and die.
Okay, well, your demise won't come from a shark in the lake, but maybe there's an alligator. I don't know.
Oh my! This is a great pick.
I
Are
really-
you gonna be able to swim in the ocean because it's much more realistic for you.
Oh my god, no, I love this movie. I watch this, I think, every summer. I'll watch it at least once. It doesn't faze me, in all honesty.
Wow.
Although, when we go do this episode, I will tell you what the scariest scene is.
Dun-it,
Not
dun-it,
that
dun-it, dun-it, dun-it,
Also,
dun-it.
this was based on a book, and I did read this book. I read the book maybe like 3 years ago, and I remember some of it, so
I'm ready to be educated, Kate.
that's some stuff we could talk. There are definitely some differences, but this is such a good movie. Steven Spielberg. We got, what's his name? Roy Schneider. We got Robert Shaw. We got Richard Dreyfuss. And that's kind of all we care about, so woo!
And the shark.
And the shark. The shark
Which-
is named Bruce.
Well, wasn't that in our area in Jersey that this was inspired by?
Yeah, it was based off of a shark attack, I think in, I want to say Manasquan, because that's
Wow.
where it kind of turns into
The
like
bay,
a...
the bay
yeah.
to the ocean.
Yes. Yep,
Wow.
Yup.
Oh me, oh my.
Woo!
Listen, Kate,
Bridge?
you got a joint?
No.
Be a lot cooler if you did. No, Kate, I wanted to tell you
Yes.
that if you wanted to have a huge party celebrating the end of your junior year and
Oh.
mom and dad were going away and the kegs got delivered too early and you're about to be busted, I would totally take the blame.
Oh, thanks, Bridge. Wow. Honestly, I feel like our parents would still be like, we're leaving. Bye. They'd be like,
They're like, I don't give a crap
I
about
don't-
you. Bye.
I don't want to deal with, I'm not paying for this. I gotta go. So,
Yeah.
And Bridge, I just want to say, if you were a former football player and
Oh, God.
your coach was harassing you and peer pressuring you, and your scary football friends were also doing that, and you had fun stoner friends who were not scary, I would say, hey man, they're cool. Those guys, hang out with them. And that'd be my
Thanks,
advice.
Kate.
So-
Thanks, Kate. I bet you'd
Yeah.
hang out with that cool teacher talking about how these guys didn't want to pay taxes.
That was the most time of my life. So, that's a great line. I gotta work that in somewhere. And oh boy, well, and listeners, if you also hate scary football players and love the deep conversations that can be had when we partake in weed, and
Lots
if
of weed.
you love liberal, badass women teachers who call out bullshit that is still relevant today,
Hey!
you should write us a review. Boy, do we love reviews. And
We
you can
love
review
them.
us on Apple Podcasts. There are other podcasting apps that will allow you to leave a review, so that would be great too. We also have a website, sisterswhoseenit.com. And if you would like to be like our next fan pick, Daniel,
Daniel-san!
you could go and request a movie. You go on our main page, scroll down, there is a form you can fill out. We have a list of requests, so obviously we are kind of going through. Sometimes we kind of do our own thing, but we will get to you because we love you guys, and we appreciate when you guys
Love
come
it.
and give us feedback, whether it's an email or whatever. If you want to email us, sisterswhoseenit@gmail.com. And Bridge, what else can they do on our website?
They can buy us coffee, and I'll
Woo!
tell you, with this list, we're gonna need a lot of coffee to go through all these picks.
Yeah, the list is growing.
And, you know, I think, as everyone who listens knows, most of the coffee will go to Katie since she's doing all the editing. However, I don't know. It's summertime. We're staying out longer. Things are getting crazier. Who doesn't need coffee? I don't know what I'm saying at this point.
All right, all right, all right. That's what you sound like.
Did I have weed? What happened? Was I
no.
smoking?
What's
Oh,
going
my God.
on? Oh boy,
Oh, man.
we're all hot boxed up in here. It's summer. We're having a great
Katie
time
and I
here.
are driving right now. Where? To nowhere. To the moon tower.
We're taking a slow ride.
Woo!
Yes. So all of that, listeners, check that out. And yeah, we hope to hear from you.
We love you.
We love you.
Kate, I love you too.
I love you. Okay. Love you.
Love you so much. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
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 See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Sisters Who Seen It. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at sisterswhoseenit.com, where you can email us, request movies to be reviewed, and keep up to date with all things sisters. Also, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next week.